once again, and as always, I'm not prepared. Wanted to do a bit of a wrestling review, but here we go. And this is me trying to done that before. But yeah, we'll get to it in a second. For all the gaming fans, I'll be live later on today with some gaming and support. There's no wrestling on today, so Wednesday is just going to be dedicated to some live streams and other stuff going forward, because AEW is on Friday over the next couple of weeks. So we'll see what goes off. But yeah, let me just change this thumbnail, guys, and then I will get to this review. I've been saying to myself for quite a while now that I need to stop well, not stop them, but I need to pick and choose which wrestling updates that I'm showing. I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys, it's so obvious that YouTube is punishing me for some stupid reason. Somebody with basically like 100 more subscribers than me managed to get 192,000 views on a video, the same, almost exactly the same length of time and almost exactly the same amount of subscribers as me at the time. I got like 400 views from that video. I posted it 12 minutes before that person posted it. That just goes to show you that there's clearly something happening with my channel. And that's why obviously I've said over the last few days, you know what, enough is enough. I'm clearly being punished by YouTube. They want me to do it in a different way, so I'm going to do it in a different way, you know, less of these videos that even if people understand what I'm doing, they're still getting, you know, 25 dislikes and stuff like that, some of them, because once wrestling fans try to freeload and they won't listen, trust me, guys, they don't care. They'll just, you know, they'll just do whatever they want. So, but we're not here to be negative anyway. We're here to be positive. Let's try and be positive about NXT right now. Oh my word, why is it done that to me now? Sorry guys, this is taking ages. And anyone who's tuning in there is probably like, if you're on the repeat, you're like, what's this guy doing? Is he doing an NXT review or not? You know how these things work. You know how these things work. I want screenshots. Give me screenshots. There they are. Just edit this screenshot, guys, very, very quickly, and then I'll get to this. Now, even recently, someone said to me, oh, why don't you do reviews and that? Is it because you don't really know how to talk about wrestling? I'm like, what do you mean I don't know how to talk about wrestling? Of course I know how to talk about wrestling, you fucking idiot. Shouldn't really be swearing, but you... You can't help it, can you? When people, when you just even thinking about those guys winds me up sometimes. Alright, I've got to do it this way, haven't I? Oh man, it's warm here today in Britain as well, guys. Just to let everybody know that, like, the weather wasn't great last week, but this week, where the youngsters have been off school and it's the holidays and stuff, it's been so hot this week. But yeah, let's get this countdown to this NXT review going, because I will be able to do it in a second. If you know how temperamental the YouTube studio page can be when you're trying to change your thumbnail, you know exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm just having to constantly click the page to try and get it to activate and let me change the thumbnail. Here we go. There we go. It's just let me do that. And there we go. Thank you very much. There we go. Let me just double check something, guys. Yeah, I am live. You can hear me. Right. Shall we get to this finally after about 15 minutes? Shall we get to this? I don't want to show that picture. That's not the picture that I want to show. I would like to show... Where's that picture? It's further down here. There it is. I'd like to show that picture there. And then I'm going to take it off the shield mode. And here we are. There we go. Welcome, right, to the NXT review. I haven't done a wrestling review for quite a while, guys, so you're going to have to bear with me right now. you know, these are my honest thoughts and opinions when it comes to what happens on, you know, an episode of Dynamite or an episode of WWE. So if you're not in agreement with me, I mean, feel free to write whatever you want in the comment section below. But, you know, any wrestling fans that are tuning into this because they want to listen to somebody's opinion on NXT or WWE, if I say anything in this review, and I don't normally give disclaimers like this, but I'm trying to make this channel more positive and not just based around all of the other stuff. If I do say something in this review that you don't agree with, feel free to say it in the comment section, but don't patronize me. I'm a fully grown man, and I'm sick and tired of, you know, 14 and 15-year-old wrestling fans who have only been watching wrestling for, you know, 5 years at the most. They've still got the child mentality of wrestling, but they dare argue. I'm not saying that anyone's right or anyone's wrong. I'm just saying I have started to notice the pattern there, where a lot of youngsters think that they know everything about wrestling. Just because you don't like AEW, or just because you don't like WWE, or just because somebody else likes AEW or somebody else likes WWE, it doesn't make them stupid. It doesn't make them whatever. In your opinion, they could be anyone. Sorry about that, guys. Got my phone resetting. But yeah, shall we get to this NXT review? The episode that I was watching, because it could, you never know, you could get a different version around the world as I show you every single one of my pictures that I've got there. Hopefully nothing inappropriate there, as I double check to make sure that there is nothing inappropriate, so I have to instantly delete and restart the stream again, which probably won't be a problem because of the mess that is the start of this stream. But yeah, the episode started off with Adam Cole. No, it didn't start off with Adam Cole, sorry. It started off with a triple threat match. Listen to this. This is awful. It started off with a triple threat match between Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, and Johnny Gargano. As I'm just checking all these pictures, no, we don't have anything there that is inappropriate. It's not even anything that I would even consider to be potentially copyrighted. I mean, there is the Kenny Omega lifting the belt, but that was quite a while ago. And it's only like a quarter of the picture as well, so you can clearly see that's some kind of collage. But yeah, whatever, who cares now at this point. The triple threat match between Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, and Johnny Gargano. You know what, guys? This was a great match as regards to being a triple threat match. But is this type of match good enough when you're thinking, right, so none of these guys, in my opinion, are huge stars. Pete Dunne's got a lot of potential, but then maybe, and as I do that once again, the same thing, maybe what it is with Pete Dunne, in my opinion, is because he's British and WWE do like the British stars at the upper mid-card point of their roster. I think Pete Dunne is a little bit overhyped. I've seen Pete Dunne wrestle with my own two eyes, and I always looked at him when he was on the independent scene in England like he deserved to be a bigger star. But I don't know if being the top featured star in NXT, especially when a guy like Karrion Kross is the champion, he is a certified person who should be on the Raw roster or the SmackDown roster. So I have to say, in my wholesome opinion, Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano, and Kyle O'Reilly, they probably should not be fighting for a shot at Killer Kross's NXT championship. In my opinion, I'm not trying to take anything away from their ability, but maybe the North American Championship, you know, Bronson Reed only just won that recently. These would be better contenders for his championship. Leave it to Finn Balor, leave it to Adam Cole. Let these guys fight with Karrion Kross over his championship. Wait a minute, we've got some messages. Oh yeah, shout out to CR21. NXT was a solid show last night. Adam Cole baby for NXT champion. Well, yeah, you know, he's a small guy, and I'll get to Adam Cole later in the review, but he is a certified challenger to the NXT, I want to say heavyweight championship, because Killer Kross, and when I say Killer Kross, I obviously mean Karrion Kross, is obviously he's a heavyweight and he's the champion in NXT. So, you know, I refer to it as a heavyweight championship, although the word heavyweight seems to have been almost banished in WWE at this point. But yeah, Adam Cole, he seems like a certified contender. Finn Balor seems like a certified contender. They could probably do with sending some of the wrestlers like Aleister Black and Andrade, who asked to go down to NXT. They should have probably sent those guys down there. I mean, Andrade is obviously gone now from the company, but Aleister Black, there's no reason why his gimmick shouldn't just be transferred onto NXT. And there's multiple other wrestlers as well. I mean, people might not take me seriously when I say this, but they're not utilizing guys like, say, Titus O'Neil correctly. He's never going to be the WWE champion. He's always going to be known as a lower card wrestler. So why not send him to NXT and give him a minor push, give him a chance to fight against someone like Bronson Reed, maybe have him even beat Bronson Reed if their action's correct. And you know what? In a year's time, 2 years' time, you could be looking at another Jinder Mahal. A guy that you never would have thought would have been the champion. And, you know, they managed to build him up from the bottom. That's how you actually book a professional wrestler. WWE seems to be so scared of actual booking. It's all just storylines and you know, like written scripts and stuff like that. It's all madness. They don't seem to understand what's right in front of them. Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. But then what do you do here, though? I know for a damn well fact that Kross should be on Raw taking on Lashley, or he should be on SmackDown taking on Roman. But the problem with that is they're going to have to make a decision coming up. Do they do what I think that they should do at this next pay-per-view, which is double turn with Drew, because Drew needs to be a heel desperately, yeah? Do they double turn with Drew and Lashley and have Lashley go over Drew again, yeah, as the babyface this time, and then Kross debuts on Raw and attacks and beats up Lashley, and then you've got the next contender? Because the problem with Kross debuting and then taking on the champion immediately is this dynamic of, if Lashley wins, then Kross is buried, but if Kross wins, he's not ready to be the champion. There's a problem with that for me. Kross needs to be built up, going over guys like, I mean, first of all, the obvious opponent for Kross would be The Miz straight away. But the way that they've treated The Miz in the last 3 months, you know, and now Tyre's in WWE as well, they could be a little husband-wife. And you know WWE love the husband and wife scenario. But anyway, guys, I've got to get back to this original match. You know I like to long-wind it anyway, so, you know, I'll go through something. Let me get back to the original match, and then later we'll talk about Kross and etc. when it gets to their segment. But yeah, the original match, the opening match, the triple threat, it was a great match. And you know what? These guys actually did something that I have complained about before, that wrestlers don't do enough of, that they tried to keep it as a triple threat without having one wrestler. They did do the wrestler on the outside thing early on in the match, but then eventually it was literally, they exploited the triple threat rule here. One kick, one clothesline from a different guy. Next guy gets hit with a clothesline. Next guy gets hit with a D. There was some spectacular combination wrestling, but it was spots, heavily invested in spots and things like that. So, you know, this match was good for a cruiserweight match. This would have been absolutely incredible, but this was being shown as a heavyweight type of match. I don't really agree with that myself. But, you know, I'll give the match a 6 out of 10 overall. I won't rate all of the matches here, guys, because some of them are not worth rating. But this was a decent match. It could have been a pay-per-view match, but, you know, it was better that it was on NXT. It should have been the main event, to be honest, if I'm honest. But they started the show off hot. But in the end, there was no finish to the match, and that's why you can't really overall rave about this match, because there was no winner. The winner probably, well, in my opinion, the winner should have probably been Pete Dunne, but they didn't win. He didn't win. Adam Cole basically attacked all 3 people in the match and ended the match on a no contest. There has to be, even though there's no disqualification in those type of matches, guys, there has to be a decisive winner. There wasn't. After this, they went to a break, and then they came back from the break, and Adam Cole was escorted out of the building by management, and I think it was William Regal. And at this point, I had to say to myself, well, I did say to myself, well, surely they're going to add in Cole into the match and make it a 4-way, as in they'll have these 4 competing to see who will face Kross. They don't actually go that way, but I'll get to that coming up. After this, we then had let me just read some of my notes here. Well, yeah, I did say in my notes that these guys are quite small, but they did well to keep it all 3 in the ring, and it did surprise me with that. What else am I looking for? Hold on, guys. I'm just making sure the stream is actually working. Hold on. There you go. Yeah, it's still working. Sorry about that, guys. I'm just making sure the stream was working. We then get a segment where, and we'll go to a break. We then get a segment where Cole is removed from the arena is officially removed from the arena, because after the match he was just told to like leave away from ringside. We get an update on the wrestlers. They're all hurt. They're all, incapable of wrestling now, apparently. And then we get Ember Moon, who storms by Regal and Adam Cole and all them lot. I hated this, by the way. I don't like when they do women outshadowing men and men outshadowing women. The women's division should be kept completely separate from the men's division if they want people to take it seriously. They should only entwine when it's necessary. Maybe even have, the Mixed Match Challenge, but as, a special edition of Monday Night Raw, where they get Raw, SmackDown and NXT's finest couples or teams, and they team up maybe the men and women's champions, and then they have tag team matches. I'd be all right with that. But they need to be very careful when they have these kinds of segments where a woman storms out and steals the heat from one of the male wrestlers, and vice versa as well. Let me just read this comments. They're going to take the belt off Kross in your house. I think he meant at in your house. And he won't get to pin. He won't get pinned. Yeah, he won't get pinned. Like, as in, like, he won't get pinned. Logic then goes to Raw, kind of like Keith Lee after he loses. But yeah, that's what I mean. Kross should have a debut match versus Drew. Yeah, and he should go over Drew McIntyre as well. I'm sorry, but Drew McIntyre needs to be sent down the card, and then he needs to be rebuilt back up. All this Scottish warrior nonsense needs to stop now. And it's nothing to do with me being English, because I'm British. I'm not just. I speak with an English accent. I'm not English at all, so it's nothing to do with me being English. Don't ever get the accent confused. But Drew McIntyre needs to go back down the card a little bit. Maybe, a few United States Championship matches. Who's the current United States champion? Let me just think now. Who's the current United States champion? It was Riddle. Sheamus. So yeah, let Drew McIntyre go. There you go. There you go. And I know people could say, we don't want to see Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus again. Sheamus practically helped cost Drew McIntyre his title, yeah? So, at the end of the day, he's one of the catalysts who was putting Drew McIntyre through hell or leading up to him losing the belt. Drew McIntyre should go after Sheamus' title. But then maybe a babyface Killer Kross could go after Sheamus. I don't know. But they'd have to slightly change the Kross gimmick, because the gimmick is a heel gimmick. It's a very heel gimmick, to be honest. But yeah, let's have a look. The Miz is hurt and going to be out till later this year. Well, there's John Morrison then, isn't there? He's got his wife there as well. Maybe Morrison should come to NXT. Start the feud there. Morrison thinks that he's got out of jail. And then Kross turns up on Raw. Beats the hell out of him. Beats him up. Gets a match with him at a pay-per-view. Beats him at the pay-per-view. Then goes after someone like Sheamus. Wins the United States Championship. Is the United States Champion like Lashley for like a good 6 months to a year. As a babyface. And then goes on after that to face Lashley. Trades in his championship. Because they've really got to start addressing that in WWE. Why is the United States Champion not automatically the number one contender to the WWE Championship? And why is the Intercontinental? They should have the option C that the X Division Championship gets. Not all the time, but I mean once a year if you're the Intercontinental. Because then it makes being the Intercontinental Champion and the United States Champion more prestigious and more prevalent. A lot of people forget that when you used to be the United States Champion in WCW, you would automatically be the number one contender to the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. So in my opinion, that would be a pretty decent thing. But yeah, Ember Moon comes out then, yeah? Wait, hold on. Drew McIntyre is an amazing wrestler. Should go back into feud with Sheamus for the year. He should do. The other feuds, build him up to WrestleMania 38 and give him his moment for the fans. No, I think he should go over on Baby Beat Roman. If they really want to keep Drew McIntyre that strong, let him go over to SmackDown and feud with Roman. SmackDown has got so little babyface superstars. I wouldn't have a problem with Drew McIntyre going over to SmackDown. Bring Cesaro to Monday Night Raw and send Drew McIntyre to SmackDown. But yeah, Ember Moon, guys, because I have to move on. Ember Moon comes out. She talks about Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. She's talking way too angrily and passionately to say that what is about to happen. She looks like she knows she's about to get her head kicked in, yeah? And guess what happens, guys? She gets sneak attacked and she gets the shit beat out of her, yeah, by Dakota Kai. And I knew this was coming. I could telegraph this from a mile off. I knew at the moment that she started heavy breathing and talking in a very aggressive, angry way, it's because she was trying to hold the heat to herself and make it so that she wasn't... That's what all wrestlers do. They stop themselves, try and stop themselves from looking like they're getting buried, yeah? She got beaten down at ringside, and then William Regal, I think, even came out once again. Like, this guy was all over the show. Yeah, I don't know if he's getting a training to get a comeback for a match or whatever, but he looked like he was all over this show at the time. After this, because I am going to move on from that segment real quickly, because as you probably could tell from the moment I started talking about it, I wasn't happy with that. After that, we get something happened, but I missed it, and I apologise for that. But we then get the LA Knight entrance. LA Knight comes out, he talks some smack. I can't even remember if he actually caught a promo or he just stood like in the ring talking to the camera as part of his entrance. But I'm going to say this now because I've got to absolutely destroy this. You have got to be joking me, yeah? The former Impact Wrestling, TNA Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion is a mid-card comedy wrestler in NXT. Get the F out of here. You have to be joking me. MSK are getting treated all right. Kross is getting treated all right. And he was part of the bad Impact. I've got to be honest, guys. This left me scratching my head because he came out like he was $1 million. And speaking of $1 million, there'll be something to do with $1 million in a second, guys. He came out like he was $1 million. And then he faces the same guy who Cameron Grimes, lost to a few weeks ago. And that was Jake Atlas. Now, Jake Atlas is a great superstar. He's quite bland and generic. To be honest, I didn't even notice that he had hair until about a good few minutes into the match. Now, maybe I missed something where he was wearing some kind of wig or some kind of bald thing, but he looked like he was bald at first, and then I noticed towards the end of the match that he's actually got hair. So, you know, this is how much this guy stands out to me. Sorry, but, you know, that's as far as I'm concerned. He just looks like Jason Jordan did. Like, you know... And shout out to Jason Jordan. I didn't even know that he was working backstage with WWE. I didn't know his injury was that bad. But anyway. So LA Knight and Jake Atlas face off. Bearing in mind that Jake Atlas beat Cameron Grimes and LA Knight is now trying to become the, you might say, protege or whatever the hell the word is, of the $1 Million Man. And that's where I bring in the $1 Million thing. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, actually comes out during this match. I can't tell you anything that happened in the match. It was pretty generic until right at the end, where all of a sudden Jake Atlas starts hitting move after move after move. And Eli Drake is selling like he's fighting against Steve Austin. I'm not even joking, guys. This guy's selling like he's fighting against prime Stone Cold Steve Austin or, you know, prime Undertaker. He's bumping around like he's being punched around by The Undertaker or Sting in like 1997. This guy's taking like flat back bumps. Like there was a move where he literally got hit and he rolled and then he did like a backflip or front flip and landed. He did like a front flip and landed. And I was like, what? This is how he's selling for this guy. So Jake Atlas is definitely going to be one of these top contenders in like 6 months because, you know, the way that he's being treated right now, he's going to be like a big star going forward. Yeah, you better hope so. Yeah. So anyway. We progress to the part of the match where the $1 Million Man comes out, and like I say, all of a sudden the Eli Drake is bumping around like he's, you know, a prime Jeff Hardy in like, or, you know, sorry, not prime Jeff Hardy, but, you know, jobber Jeff Hardy from like 1997 and 8, where he's literally bumping like he's, you know, it's the end of his career, and he literally, somebody has told him in the back, if you don't bump around like you are literally being killed, then you are going to be fired tonight. You know, this is how this guy was bumping around for a practical nobody. And then Cameron Grimes comes out and he starts talking to Ted DiBiase at ringside. And then I could not believe this because I actually thought that at some point Eli Drake was just going to, or LA Knight was just going to snap, hit his finishing move and beat this guy. No. Jake Atlas hits this move, DDT, some walking rope DDT thing that actually looked pretty good. Thought it was going to be a close 2 count, but NXT did the right thing and have such a spectacular move be the actual finish on the wrong competitor. There is no way that LA Knight should be being beaten like this, clean in the ring. Absolutely 100% clean in the middle of the ring. And then apparently, in your house, it's going to be a match between LA Knight and Cameron Grimes. So basically, the 2 people who lost to Jake Atlas are going to face off in a Who's Not the Biggest Loser match at, and I'm calling it that, by the way, at In Your House. So what are the chances then, and I said this in my short last night, what are the chances then that Jake Atlas is going to be the guy who the $1 Million Man picks out of this? Pretty obvious, isn't it, guys? Oh, we've got a shot guy. They've just done this on Dynamite, by the way, with Jade Cargill, where she's picked the manager that nobody thought that she was going to pick. But it's pretty obvious, isn't it? You've got Matt Hardy, who's got this group of people, and then you've got Vicky Guerrero, who's already got a female or whatever, they identify as, because I think she's transgender, Nyla Rose. I want to say she's transgender without trying to offend anybody, because I don't want to go down that road. And, shout out to Nyla Rose. Let her be what she wants to be. That's her business. But yeah, she's already got a strong heel female wrestler in her group, or in part of her contracts. So it was obvious that she was going to pick Mark Sterling, or whatever his name was, or she was going to pick somebody else, obviously a random person who we didn't know, or, I would have liked to have seen Mark Henry be her manager. And I know that Mark Henry and Leo Rush don't get along, but they're obviously in the same company now. I would have liked Mark Henry to maybe have started building and I know some people might not like the sound of this, but a African-American stable. Jade Cargill, Will Hobbs, Leo Rush. They're the first names that come to mind in AEW. Maybe even Lee Johnson can eventually turn heel on Cody Rhodes and join the faction. They love the factions in AEW. And it looks like they're going to be breaking up some of these factions soon. Not the main factions, but some of the lower down factions are going to be getting phased out in AEW. What we'll see when Rampage comes along. Because we never know, Rampage could end up being a program that is solely based around the faction wars in AEW to keep it off Dynamite. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh man, sorry guys. There was music playing in the background, guys, booming out as well. I hope that didn't pick that up. Man, that would be not a good thing. Yeah. So where are we going now? So yeah, LA Knight jobbed out, looks like an idiot, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, I was almost ready to turn off the program at this point. I couldn't believe what I'd seen. But I was already angry about something else as well, guys, that I spoke about last night. If you haven't seen my video about the NWA, then please check that out, guys, because I am not friendly with the NWA in that video. Where are you right now? There may have been something that happened as well between the LA Knight and the next segment that I'm about to talk about, but I can't remember because I didn't write it down. And like I say, I am not fantastic at taking notes and all that kind of stuff, guys. So I just try and do it. I could watch the episode in front of myself right now if I really wanted to, but I want to give you guys an authentic experience. Maybe next time I'll watch the episode in front of me so I can recap it like that. But NXT is not strong enough, in my opinion, for me to do that. If this was AEW, like when I used to do AEW, I used to watch AEW Dark, in front of me and then talk about it so I could review it live. Maybe in future I might start doing that with NXT because I don't really know what to say. What do people want me to say here? The wrestling's good. Yeah, all right, the wrestling's good. But if I want good wrestling and I can watch AEW Dark and Dark Elevation, good wrestling on there. Some people might say, "Oh yeah, there's many botchers on AEW and on NXT, just like there is in AEW Dark and AEW Dark Elevation. If you take the best parts of the good matches, they are very watchable. I mean, last night's Dark was pretty decent, to be honest. But, you know, some people might argue with that. At the end of the day, NXT is... It's not top level, is it, guys? WWE don't deny that. It's got some top level stars in there, like Kross and Finn Balor, but... Come on, guys, let's be perfectly honest about NXT right now. But yeah, to the next segment. You've got Adam Cole, who for some reason, and this is another thing, what is this building that NXT is filmed in? Do they have no security? You know, going back to the Performance Center crap last year with WWE, when Elias was run over and all that kind of stuff, and Retribution debuted, what you mean to tell me that they've still not sorted out the security in this building? Because for some reason, a guy who was your former champion, who has been asked to leave ringside and then asked to leave the building because he stopped a perfectly good triple threat match from ending, has now been able to just walk straight back out. There was a segment taking place with the $1 Million Man. In fact, this is the segment that I missed, so I can talk about this now. The $1 Million Man cuts a promo. So you've got basically, well, arguably the biggest character that is on this show, because he's not the biggest star, because obviously he doesn't wrestle, but the biggest known character on this show is Ted DiBiase. He's cutting a promo, and his promo is stopped midway through. Oh, I'm so glad I remembered this. His promo is stopped midway through for Adam Cole to burst by him. Let me just check, see if I'm live, guys. For Adam Cole to burst by him, go to the ring, a person who has already been asked to leave the building. Now, this is where you know something's going to be announced or changed or whatever, because why is this guy just allowed? Is this guy got some kind of stroke backstage? And we're going to get to this now. Because they were working, and they clearly were working. But if you think that these two, meaning Kross, who comes out to confront Cole eventually, if you think that these two are friends, they're not. There seems to be quite a lot of politicking going on in NXT. I don't know if they're just trying to bring the word politic into the show to get more heat on these guys. But it seemed to me like these two... And they were deliberately taking underhanded shots at each other. That was obviously something that they'd agreed to. I will also say that if you want me to believe that Adam Cole has any chance of actually beating this Kross guy in a one-on-one match, you should probably have not had Adam Cole maybe turn on the people that he was with, because I just don't believe that he would be physical enough to be able to beat Kross. Kross just looked like he should have beat the crap out of him the moment that he came out. And Kross was a babyface here, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but Kross came out. He basically told this guy to shut his mouth because he was moaning about something. He knew what he was doing, and he was trying to get into his head. Even eventually, William Regal actually came out and said, you know, what Adam Cole was trying to do. And of course, because Adam Cole did what he did earlier on, it's basically like, you shouldn't have done that. If you wanted to do it a certain way, you should have fought your way up. But that's not how wrestling works, is it, guys? And Kross actually told William Regal to just shut his mouth and just said, listen, and you want to fight, I'll fight you all. You and all of those three as well. I actually said it would be a four-way match, because I don't know why I said it would be a four-way, but it will be a five-way match, guys, at the pay-per-view. And I think you can safely say, like CR21 said earlier on, that I think Kross is going to be losing his championship belt. I don't think he's going to be the person who gets pinned, but I think he is going to be the person who loses. He's not going to get pinned, but he's going to lose. So either way, he's going to be one of the people that lose. But I don't think he'll get pinned, though. But the problem with Kross is there's not much more of a ceiling for Kross to go to in NXT. And this is just me being, real with you guys. There isn't much more of a ceiling for Kross in NXT. He is way too big of a star to be in NXT. I think WWE, in their minds in WWE, being part of Impact translates to being, being a decent star, a big star in Impact, one of the bigger stars, translates to being one of the bigger stars in NXT. I think that WWE needs to look at AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Robert Roode being a upper card star in Impact, and Lashley and Drew McIntyre being an upper card star in Impact is probably about the same level as being a mid-card star on SmackDown. Because WWE has fallen that far. You know, how the mighty have fallen, because 5 years ago or 6 years ago when TNA was still half decent, how they would have killed for their stars to be seen as mid-card level wrestlers on WWE Raw or SmackDown. But that's how far WWE has fallen now. Where their roster... I mean, come on, look at the way that they treat Jeff Hardy, man. You know, one of the biggest stars to come down wrestling's pipeline in the last 30 years. Look at the way AEW treats, say, Sting, and look at the way that WWE treats Jeff Hardy. And we all know that you can say what you want about Jeff Hardy's, abuse issues, etc. But if Jeff Hardy was to go to AEW this week, the reaction that Jeff Hardy would get would be astronomical. In fact, with the crowd being back there now, it would probably be the loudest pop that anyone has got in AEW. And that's me saying that. But yeah, as I said, going back to the Kross and Adam Cole, I don't know what you guys think, but these guys seem like they genuinely hate each other. Not like a personal, I would want to kill you type of thing. It's more of, we're just not on the same page, or we just don't see things the same way. But I don't know NXT, sorry about the burp. I don't know NXT that well, guys, so forgive me if I've missed something. And there was a bit of an extra bit at the end of the segment. Adam Cole standing on the announce table. He cleared the whole announce table just to stand on the announce table and tell Kross that he runs NXT. And then, did he throw the water bottle and it actually hit Scarlett instead of hitting Kross? I'm sure he did. I didn't actually see what happened fully because my eyes were on writing notes at the time, stupidly. And I know that a bottle was thrown because I've got it here. A bottle was thrown. I'm sure it was a water bottle. And I think it hit Scarlett and not Kross. But, you know, I'd have to probably go back and have a look at that. In fact, let me just quickly see if I can get that up on YouTube. Let me just see if I can get that up on YouTube because... Here we go. Yeah, I've got it here. The segment's here. It's on the WWE YouTube page. So bear with me, guys. Let me just see this because I actually missed this part of it, and I won't deny I did. I actually missed this part of it. He threw a bottle or he threw something into the ring. Yeah, it was a water bottle. Oh, it hit Kross, but Kross... Maybe that was planned then because, well, the bottle was definitely planned. But Kross turned around and obviously Scarlett, it was aimed towards Scarlett, but they planned it that way, obviously. It's a pity though, and I realised when I listened back that part of my actual update video yesterday had been cut short unintentionally. I don't know what happened to that. I must have deleted part of it by an accident. But I actually said, now Britt Baker is the AE. It's a pity, it's a pity because Britt Baker's the AEW Women's World Champion. And of course, it would be nice to see the four of these feud, Scarlett and Britt and Kross and Cole, but obviously that's going to have to be on Twitter because, with people being in different companies. It's disappointing, but what else can we do, guys? That's how things go. But yeah, I like this segment between the two. It was quite heated. It got quite personal. It got to the point. Cole managed to worm his way into the match, like I said, but I can't highlight more. They're either playing this very, very well, or these two cannot get along, and they don't get along backstage. There probably is some kind of issue between these two in the backstage area that probably more than likely is just a jealousy thing. There's a lot of professional jealousy in wrestling. I won't buy into it too much, guys. But then I could be wrong. There could be some actual personal hate between these two. Cole, I think, goes back to Ring of Honor. I think Kross has been around that sort of independent scene. I know that, of course, he was part of, like I said, Impact and MLW. So, there's no reason why these two may not have crossed paths in the past. So, there's no reason why there hasn't been some kind of incident. So, you guys would have to let me know if there's actually been some kind of backstage incident between these two. But they did seem like, Kross seemed like he doesn't like Cole because he's a politicker. And Cole seems like he doesn't like Kross because he thinks he's a better wrestler, which is pretty much the basis of most of the arguments that take place backstage in wrestling, to be honest. We then got a match with Kushida in action. It was basically a showcase match for Kushida. You know, most of his championship defenses have been against guys who are on his level or probably seen as higher than him. But yeah, this was a decent match. It was what it was supposed to be, which is a cruiserweight match. But then I would argue that the opening match was a cruiserweight match. So, you know, what more could Kushida offer in this match, which was practically a showcase / you know, cough, cough, squash match. And he won the match, and that's all you guys need to know. There was an MSK promo where they were hyped up about later on's tag team match. These guys should not be anywhere near the microphone. Maybe they need somebody to talk for them, you know, speak for them. I don't know. I don't know whether people like these guys, but I don't. They remind me of Mark Andrews, who used to be in TNA, who won the Gut Check, who used to be one of the go-to English British wrestlers that they used to have on their tours. And that I've seen Mark Andrews wrestle quite a few times, and that's what these guys remind me of, that sort of kind of high-flying, flippy type of professional wrestlers. I know these guys were in Impact before, but that's how I've seen them in Impact. And their tag team partner, the one that was in the group as well with them, he's just the same. The one that's in Impact right now, I think his name's Trey. He's exactly the same as well. I'm not trying to disparage these guys. I'm not trying to bury them, but you know, they are glorified cruiserweight tag teams. Like, they don't look like tag team wrestlers to me. They look like jobbers who you would beat the crap out of. And I don't want to say never, because WWE is always desperate for tag teams in their tag team division that are actual tag teams. And trust me, guys, these guys will not be anywhere above 205 Live if they ever break up as a tag team. So, you know, they maybe got a chance on the main roster as being the underdog tag teams that can take losses. You know, a little bit like the Lucha House Party was used. You know, they probably could have good matches with the Lucha House Party, to be honest. But no, I'm going to be perfectly honest, guys. I can't see these guys getting really any higher than, you know, lower card tag teams, maybe on SmackDown or Raw, but they'd probably benefit if they would just stay in NXT. And that's just my thoughts on MSK. We get a women's tag team match between the tag team champions, Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. See, I got there in the end, guys. And they took on, I want to say, Zoe Stark and Zaina Ramia. And I've actually done myself proud because I've not got any of them names written down here. Yeah, this was a quick match and the tag team champions won. I'm not going to bury them. This is a decent women's wrestling match. I've seen much, much, much worse. But there's something about the positioning, especially of Indy Hartwell. It's almost like she has got absolutely zero camber training whatsoever. Like, can somebody explain to this girl, A, where the hard camber is, and B, when she's in these backstage promos, to just be still and be normal. Sometimes, I don't know if it's because of her gimmick, but she is so erratic and moving around. I don't know what is going off. Somebody says that this is, you know, part of her gimmick. She's a hyper character. These are heels, aren't they? I thought these girls were heels. So, you know, why have they got this erratic baby face, like Matt Riddle type of unpredictable comment thing, where you don't know what they're going to say, you don't know what they're going to do? That doesn't scream popularity to me. That screams people sitting cautiously waiting for you to mess up because they know you are not comfortable in front of the camera or on the mic. And there seems to be quite a lot of that coming out of NXT over the last few years. You've got your guys who really deserve to be pushed up the roster. You've got the people who have the ability to be pushed up the roster. But I think some of these guys are just being left like to their own devices, or they're being completely controlled by WWE and they're just not comfortable with it. But maybe I was just overthinking that when I was watching that. But such a short match, such a squash match for two wrestlers that for the tag team champions that defeated the two women that have been defeating other women recently. It was like, what the hell was going on? Like, I don't know. These two underdog, plucky baby faces, Zoe Stark and Zayn Remia, their pushes were completely destroyed here. But yeah, let's move on. We get a Mercedes Martinez promo. She sends a message to Xia Li and Tion Shaw, I think it is. Not got them written down again. She was marked last week, and now she obviously is the person who Xia Li is obviously looking to face. I think she's the NXT Women's Champion. Well, she must be, because none of these other women are the champion. Don't really know what to say. Mercedes Martinez is a very, very, very good professional wrestler, but she should not be anywhere near NXT. She should be so much higher up the roster. I mean, what was WWE thinking by putting her in the Retribution group? I mean, is she being punished for that now? I mean, being in NXT Women's Championship matches is obviously doesn't seem like you're being punished. But when the fans that are watching at home already know that you are probably slightly above the level of NXT and you are being beaten by the NXT people, that's a problem to me, because that's almost like you are now a stepping stone for the NXT talent to get over you, because WWE doesn't want to put you on the main roster on your own. Because you can see anyone who was in Retribution, whether they're winning matches now or not, WWE never took that group seriously from day one. So every member of that group has to be aware that they are surplus to requirements in WWE. Maybe it was just a test to see if it's a situation where WWE say jump and the wrestlers say how high. You know how they love these power mad things. But yeah, Mercedes Martinez, way too good to be on NXT. I didn't really care what she was saying, because I'm almost certain that she's not going to defeat the woman. If she does, I'll probably eat those words. And I would be happy, because I've got no idea who the NXT Women's Champion is. I've not even seen her since I've been watching, to be honest. And then Ember Moon, who's hurt in the back, she then cuts a promo, basically almost word for word the same promo, but about somebody else, about Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So yeah, for those who are wondering, this is probably the go-to promo in NXT. Anyway, to the main event of the episode. There could have been other things going off between the cross match. Sorry, between the cross segment and the main event. There could have been anything that was happening, guys. My mind started to switch out of NXT because of certain other reasons. A, because I was mad about the NWA episode of Power Surge, and that's a thing that you will have to listen to in my actual review of, well, not even review, but my video on NWA from last night. And of course, because once I seen the Kushida match, my mind started to switch off. I've got nothing against cruiserweight wrestling, but I mean, come on. We don't even get to see is the NXT Cruiserweight Championship separate from the actual Cruiserweight Championship, or is it the same championship? Because I don't watch 205 Live. And I'm not being rude, I don't watch 205 Live. But yeah, to the main event, guys, because I don't think that there was anything else. I'm looking over even WWE's clips and stuff. You know, LA Knight making excuses, but, you know, you still lost. Well, yeah, there was a segment where apparently Candice LeRae urges Indy Hartwell to forget Dexter Lumis. That is not the segment that I want to talk about. Oh, yeah. There was also a Frankie Monet where she says that her segment last week was the highest rated segment or whatever on NXT last week. And then apparently there was a segment where Xia Li talked about Mercedes Martinez. I did not see this segment. So, you know, let me, in fact, you know what, guys? I'm going to run this segment in the background right now.
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Hold on.
It grows
Yeah, whatever. Bear with me here, guys. Let me run this segment in the background. So yeah, guys, this is just a lot of Chinese. I don't know if this is Xia Li or if this is the other woman who she's with. But yeah, apparently it was to do with the Mae Young Classic, etc, etc, etc. So that's what that's about. I'm not watching the whole thing. I'm not interested in that at all. Sorry about that. There was also, let's have a look. There was also the Frankie Monet segment. I did actually catch the end of the Frankie Monet segment, to be honest. Now come to think of it. Turn that down. Yeah, I remember this now. So Frankie Monet's just reading the reviews for hers, but it's obviously all just biased stuff. I think that Frankie Monet is going to be a massive star within the WWE. She needs to probably be working some serious maneuvers to help her husband as well get out of the rut that he's in on Monday Night Raw. But that's a story for a different time, isn't it, guys? But yeah, Frankie Monet's world premiere was apparently something good in the eyes of the fans that watched it. I thought she was pretty impressive. And it's obvious that they are building her up, but she's heel, isn't she? So if Xia Li is heel, but then who knows who's heel in NXT, because Mercedes Martinez came across as a heel. So the Diamond Mine is opening soon. Anyone got any idea what this is? Because I've not got any idea what this is. The Diamond Mine is opening soon. Let me have a look at this. What did I miss there? It looks like a cage thing. Looks like MMA. Oh, so this is what they were going to be able... This is what they were going to try and do with Raw Underground then, yeah? So the Diamond Mine. Must be some kind of training center or whatever. And then, yeah, like I said, so we had the Candice LeRae urges Indy Hartwell to forget Dexter Lumis. I'm not going to talk about that. And then at the main event, we had MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. I think El Fantasma, Del Fantasma. Yeah, Legado del Fantasma in the main event. You know, this was a cruiserweight tag team match as best as there can be, guys. You know, for those people who take this stuff seriously, you have to understand, like I say, and I've said this multiple times during this review, I'm not trying to bury NXT. By no means am I trying to bury NXT, but these are cruiserweight wrestlers. The fact that they're tag teams is a bonus because, you know, it means that they would have, no matter how small they are, they potentially would have a longer stay in WWE as a tag team because cruiserweights just seem to be stockpiled in WWE. I think WWE is aware that these guys are probably suited to go elsewhere outside of WWE, and they'd probably be looked at as bigger stars if they were in companies outside of WWE. So what WWE does is they sign a load of these high flyers and a load of these athletic wrestlers just in case they actually do become bigger stars on the independent scene. And then, of course, you know that they're probably going to want to go elsewhere. But then at this stage, I've got to say, is this WWE's fault or is this the wrestlers themselves' fault? Because we all know what happens to wrestlers in WWE. Some of them go there and they become stars, and you know, they'll talk about them like, you know, this is what happens to every single wrestler in the world. But the majority of them go to WWE and then, you know, they get slid down the totem pole. But yet somehow a lot of these wrestlers manage to easily rehabilitate themselves in other companies and be seen as megastars. And that used to be seen as a bit of a problem back in the mid-2000s. Like, old WWE wrestlers not being able to cut the mustard in WWE, but then, of course, they go to elsewhere like TNA and Ring of Honor and they become stars. Well, yeah, because they're the guys who have been trained the most and the guys who have probably been, you know, worked to the bone, and you've seen them multiple times on national TV. So like a guy like Christian in the mid-2000s, who was at that European intercontinental level in WWE but couldn't get further than that level, by the time he goes to TNA, he's an absolute star. Of course he is. And like they said, even, you know, even some of the other stars that went from WWE to TNA and became stars, like Lashley and Drew McIntyre, yeah, because they're being seen every single week on TV. They've got potential to be the guys that WWE said that they were going to be. But this stockpiling needs to stop. I think at this point, if wrestlers are independent contractors, then they should be able to work wherever they want. Because it is starting to cause a bit of an issue in professional wrestling. Sorry, let me just read the chat, because I think someone's just dropped me a message in the chat. Oh, what's going on, Sarah? How you doing? I've heard that you're not very well. I hope that you're feeling better now. But yeah, shout out to you for passing by. I was just running through the NXT card from last night. I've been trying to do more of these reviews, etc. You know, get that watch time up, and because I just know that WWE, I just know that YouTube has been affecting my channel and the reach of my channel. I just know it has. As I said earlier on in the review, I posted a video 15 minutes before somebody else did the other day. We practically had about the same amount of subscribers to our channels, and his video had 192,000 views. Mine didn't even have 100. It's obvious that these videos are not being shared in the right place. So over the next few weeks, guys, I've got to make some decisions. And like I said earlier on as well, with Dynamite not being on Wednesday for the next few weeks, it gives me a full open day in the middle of the, smack bang in the middle of the week, to do whatever I want. So I can end this live now, take a 15-20 minute break, and then I can go back live again and do all the support. You know, and if I wanted to, I can go live later, because I'm planning a couple of lives over the next 24 to 48 hours, just to get a few things out of the way, because I want to talk about some things, you know, different, away from, you know, wrestling and you know, games and stuff. There are other things that I'm into. Like, for those who haven't seen my Mighty Ducks Game Changers video yesterday, you know, head over and watch that video, because it's worth a watch. Wow. Well, I hope, like I said, I hope that your recovery goes well, Sarah, because that's a serious matter there, and gallbladders are not a good thing, not a nice thing, but not uncommon. Being a person who's got health issues, I can totally relate to issues like that. I try to avoid going into hospital at any cost, obviously, especially in this modern day with the pandemic and that, but when you need to, guys, you need to. There's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, I even thought about it earlier on. You know, these wrestling reviews don't normally get many views, but if you can keep 2 or 3 people on your live for an hour or two, it's way more watch time than it would be if I was to just post a video that were to get 500 views. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be able to work out the watch time situation. If I post a video that's 30 seconds long, if it gets 1,000 views, and people have watched the video as an average, so 1,000 views at an average of, say, 20 seconds, that's only 1,000 times 20. Now, that's a lot when you think about it, but when you break it down into actual hours, you've only got to really get one person to sit on your channel, on your live. So like I said, if I've got me and my other device, there's always 2 here. Well, there's always, I have to use one of my devices to stream. So there's always one person here in me. And as I said when I first came to YouTube, even if I stream to myself, I just need something to do. And it's getting to that time of the summer where I don't just want to be it's not, you ain't got the excuse to be laid up on the settee in the middle of the day. Like I'll go and do a bit of shopping in the morning, I'll get out, and then I think, you know what, I'll have a coffee, and then I'll put my feet up, watch a bit of TV, and you end up laying there with, in a quilt or whatever, or with a blanket around you, and then the next thing you know, it's evening time, and then all the madness starts with the wrestling and that, and it's like, days were wasting away, and I was like, I'm missing certain things, and I'm missing hours and hours and hours of a potential time. And then I didn't realize this until recently, but because I've already been on YouTube for a year, I'm actually losing watch time as I'm gaining it. So whenever I do these nights where I could get 10,000 views from wrestling, but if I've only had like 4, 5, 6 hours watch time, I could have gone live for fucking, swearing again, I could have gone live for, an hour and a half, and I could have had 4 people on my live for an hour and a half, and that's 4 times 90 minutes. And when it comes to watch time, that's what counts for this. And I've got to start really thinking about what it is best for me on YouTube. Shout out to those people who've clocked this. Shout out to Hilda DC. Shout out to Big Body Harris. These people have obviously clocked on. They might not be near my subscriber limit, but if I'd have noticed what they notice now, 6 months ago, I wouldn't have this problem now. Because I would have already got to that point of already having, 2,500, 3,000 hours watch time. Whereas when I finally got to 1,000 subscribers and actually went and bothered to check how much I needed like 650, 700 hours watch time. And that doesn't seem like a lot. When you're losing 100 hours a week, 120 hours a week, you've got to be able to cover that. And the only way I'm going to be able to cover that is to go live. And going live means, go live and try and get, and I've calculated this, try and get 3 to 5 people to stay on your live between 1 and 2 hours. Because then you get like, if you can get 3 people to stay on your live for 2 hours, you've had 6 hours watch time there and then. That should be able to cover any watch time that I had in the previous time. If 5 days goes by and I can put on my channel 25, 30, 40 hours watch time, it means I'm covering the watch time that I may have lost from last year, where I have had, 100 hours in a week watch time. Because there will be times when I did have big watch time last year, especially around the big pay-per-views and etc. So I've got to be able to match that now. And as I said, I don't mind. I really don't mind. A lot of it, guys, and I'll be real, and I'm going to talk about this more going forward. I don't talk about this in length with anyone. I have spoke about it before, but I don't really talk about this. But you have to understand my mental health issues, guys. Like, through my PTSD and through other things, it makes me have a lot of self-doubt. And I have to remember constantly the fundamentals of why I came to YouTube. I never came here for validification or for people to give me, good vibes or good feelings. To be honest, I came here because I was sick and tired of seeing people stealing wrestling and whatever else. And I knew for a damn well fact that I could get through to a certain audience by just being the guy that I wanted to be. But you know what? Having met a lot of the people that I've met on YouTube, I can be as toxic as I want about wrestling, guys. I can be as toxic as I want about soccer, about, movies, about games, about the people that play the games. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not really a toxic guy in general in real life. And one thing that I have always been good at is talking. Whether I talk crap, whether I talk nonsense, it doesn't bother me. I've learned to deal with that in my life. But one thing that I have never truly channeled into is to be able to use my voice as the thing that makes me the most, the thing that I've done the most in life. My voice has never been something that I've really focused on. To be honest, even until I started playing my music to you guys, a lot of my music used to make me cringe a little bit, because I am saying stupid stuff in that music, and I was a teenager at the time, and talking about knives and killing and all that, it's not necessary. But at the end of the day, if you understand a certain type of life and a certain type of person, it's just expressions at the end of the day. And then as I've got older, things have changed, and my output on life has changed, and my output on thinking has changed, and even like towards things like wrestling, it's changed. And when people say to me, well, why do you watch wrestling then? It's like, because maybe part of me inside wants to be able to watch wrestling and moan about it. Because of all the times when I did used to watch wrestling and not moan about it. And then it's like, you know what? When it's good, it's good. And when it's not good, it's not good. And that goes for everything. And I'm just part of that community. And it's just, to cut a long story short, or to cut a long excuse short, it's just difficult for someone where I came from, guys, to accept that YouTube is a valid way of being able to communicate. And, you know, if you'd have asked me 3 years ago about doing YouTube, apart from the odd song that I'd upload, if you'd just so I could store it somewhere, if you'd have asked me to do YouTube 5 years ago, guys, I would have been like, are you mad? Like, the thoughts that I had, the mentalization I had towards YouTube was, it's all just bare weirdos and stuff like that. And you know what? I've met some absolutely incredible people on YouTube. People that are struggling mentally just the same way as I am. And you never realize how hard life is. And this has got deep, and I know it's got deep, guys, and this is about wrestling, so it really shouldn't have got deep. But I just wanted to just, you know, give a real outlook on, you're not just talking to a person that wakes up in the morning and wants to annoy people. I feel like that just comes with the territory of being a person that's opinionated. And I'm not going to sit here and let people crap on me or anybody that, you know, I'm friends with on this platform, etc. It's not going to happen. As I show you my pictures there again for some reason, and you'll see what they are, downloaded that picture there. But yeah, honestly, guys, I appreciate everybody, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who come to my live, my life. Well, YouTube is kind of my life now, you know, to be honest. I never realized it, and I do need to do more. I need to stop the crap that I do because I really just want to irritate people, because it doesn't help anyone. And I need to be entertaining more. The way that people leave my live when I do the music thing, the way that that makes me feel, I can't match that, guys. I can't match that by posting, you know, you freeloaders, because they're funny. And even where I started to even add in, if you haven't caught any of these, by the way, guys, you need to find these out. The videos where I clearly call out and I'm like, this video has been brought to you by the anti-freeload. That stuff just came off the top of my head. And you guys know, anyone who listens to me knows, when I want to be entertaining, I want to be entertaining. But I don't want to be known as the annoying, hey guys, how's it going, guy forever. I want to be able to just keep my small community, keep them there, keep them, you know, where they are. I mean, I played a premiere of me gaming yesterday. 3-hour premiere, and I had 11 people at the height of it on there. Now, some people might say that's not many. For me on gaming to have 11 people on that meant everything to me. And that video has had like 55, 60 hours watch time already, meaning that, you know, the 55, 60 people that have watched the video all watched it for like an hour and a bit. That's good to me. That's nice. That's exactly what I need. I need that encouragement there, guys. And that's what you're there for. And anyone who's listened this long, that won't, you know, anyone who's listening back, who's not part of the live now, that listening back, you know, I appreciate you. I appreciate anyone who comes out and says whatever, because that's what YouTube is about. I never knew that. I never really understood that, guys. I never really, shout out to Tyrone Morgan in the chat right now. I never really understood that that's what YouTube was about. But yeah, to close out the NXT subject, guys, you know, I'm going back there now. Yeah, to close out the NXT subject after that 20-minute display of just, you know, absolute insanity. To go back to the NXT stuff. Do you know what? I like NXT. Not as a whole. There are things in it that I really like, and there are things in it that I just tolerate. It's certainly not as good as AEW, nowhere near. It's better than Raw and SmackDown as a whole. But there are things that NXT need to tighten up real quickly. Because if they don't, people are going to start to expose NXT. Because how many failed wrestlers can go to Monday Night Raw and then they can keep blaming it? And I think there is some kind of internal sabotage going on with NXT. What's this? Hilda did a 24-hour live stream and now she's asleep for 24 hours. Wait, Hilda went live for 24 hours? Because I've got Hilda running on my other phone since about 4 or 5 hours ago. Let's have a look. Hold on, guys. Let me just look at this. No, it was only 8. Oh, he's just joking. I thought he was being serious. He's just joking. It was 8 hours. I was like, wait, what? No, hey, it couldn't have been 24 hours. It couldn't have been 24 hours. But shout out to Hilda DC. Do you know what? 1 second. But yeah, I was just shocked that Hilda actually went silent. I was watching it for a bit, and then I switched it off, and then I went back to it for a bit, and I thought, right, I better let Hilda know that I'm here. And then all of a sudden, the stream went silent, so I skipped through a little bit to listen. And I was like, my word, Hilda actually did go silent in this stream. And I even sent her a message saying, yo, this was extremely silent for you, Hilda. This weren't like you popping in every like 15 minutes or so. She was quiet for a while. Yeah, you know what? I might have to start doing some of them this area, like where I go live like now, but I just leave the live running. My problem is I'll probably start talking about all kinds of madness in the background, guys. So you know what I mean? But yeah, I should probably just leave the live running sometimes so that people can lock in and think about. That'll be more when I do my music and other streams like that. You know, I've tried to develop a bit of a format now where I'm going to go live and I'll do a bit of gaming talk, get a game in, and then I'll do a bit of talking, and then I'll play a few songs, and then I'll do a bit of talking, because I'm going to write down some subjects and that so that I can talk about those subjects at length, because I am going to start doing some proper... Yeah, of course, I'd probably just mute it, Zero. Like... But you never know. You never know. Knowing me, I probably would forget, and then you guys will hear me going on 20-minute rants to myself later on about something that I've thought of that happened like 2 weeks ago. Hold on, guys. Let me just pour a drink. But yeah, shout out to Hilda DC. Shout out to Chels Lorraine. Shout out to Sarah. Shout out to Kira. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to One Busy Mama. Shout out to Tyrone Morgan. Shout out to Number One Stunner. Shout out to Chinchilla. Shout out to Lime. Shout out to Big Body Harris. Anna Malorin. Shout out to Ethan. Shout out to what's his name? Heavy Hammer. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to think of everyone. Shout out to Team Gravely, Team Gravely. I never know. I've heard people call it Team Gravely. I've heard them call it Team Gravely. Shout out to all of you. I'm just drinking orange soda. Shout out to you lot. Shout out to Clarice. There's more. There is more. There is. Oh yeah, shout out to Christopher Mace. I shouted him out last night. There's definitely more. Why can't I think of the more? Why can't I think of the more now? Shout out to all of the gaming fans. You know who you are, guys. If I'm forgetting you, yeah, I apologise that I'm forgetting you. I don't know what to do. What time are we on? We're on 11:30 in the morning, where you lot are Eastern. So I'm going to end this in a minute, guys. And then I may go live again. In fact, I probably will go live again within the next few hours, because I'm thinking now I want to do something else. And it'll either involve gaming or it'll involve something else, because I'm just thinking now there's two things that I want to do. What else do I want to say right now? Is there anything else I need to say? I don't think there's really anything else I need to say. Do you guys want me to run a song? I think I should run a song to end the stream, shouldn't I? I'm not going to run the usual song. I'm just going to run a song to end the stream. Right. So, where do I go now? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Sometimes I'm just useless with the navigation around my phone. Shout out to Sarah. And, you know, in your recovery, man, I hope it's speedy. Hope it's not no drawn-out recovery. But yeah, I think tonight, guys, I think my friend's putting on some barbecue food as well. So if I do manage to get some barbecue food, and if I do go out and see my friend, I will probably take some snaps of what I've eaten. But that's not a guarantee. I don't know if even know if it's A, happening until the weekend, or if it's B, going to be something that I'm going to be interested in at the time. We'll have to just see. You know what? I'm gonna run this one.
Don't be facing me, hating me, you'll be tasting beef, impatient G, just wait and see. I'll be breaking D-A-C-K, wasting teeth, blazing beef, that's how I like it, favourite beef. I might roll with chase to the beef, just sound black toss, it won't be blatant, it's me, more time I gotta blade with me. Second the flip to the case of the spree, so you be catching the pace of me, blood, that's what I want when the gazing at me, chasing with 3-4 man, raising the piece, I'll be me straight on the feet if I see length, ain't seeing me, and if the red gives is a stranger to me. Look, I'm sick of these dudes walking around trying to accuse me and my crew of slipping in the game, and to that we seem to refuse. Don't cruise for a bruise, you will definitely lose. You don't want us to blow our fuse, cause blab you make moves, blab you make moves. Writing so I'm living again, I'm sick with the pen, pop a punchline shot like I'm bringing this game. Catch me big in the pen as I chill in the den with my villain's friends. I'm an MC, so I sit to the end. Boys got beef, then I'm quick to attend. I'm a quick to offend any victims you send. You're a prick, you pretend to be sick, can't send for me lies. You're filming again, bare MC chat like the criminal men, cause I know a few man that have been in the pen when your boys are dizzy, dealing with friends. I just wanna chill in my ends, like peas bled, wanna sit in the bends. I'm climbing high, I won't slip and descend. I got a grip on the pen, my rhymes cripple your men. Look, I'm sick of these dudes walking around trying to accuse me and my crew of slipping in the game, and to that we seem to refuse. Don't cruise for a bruise, you will definitely lose. You don't want us to blow our fuse, cause blab you make moves, blab you make moves. So you got a few rhymes, I'm down to work like mine is in mines. I can't get a job right now, so the only way for me to earn is crimes. Yo, I keep seeing these signs telling me it's time to get off the grind. I can't get off it though, so it's money, greed, gal, grime. Yeah, that's the everyday process. Until I get rich I won't rest. I was raised with a crib and a car and a mum and a dad, so I guess I'm so blessed. I settle for top score, no less. I'm in a top crew, so don't test. You can hate as much as you like, when you hear me spit, don't ever try protest. Look, I'm sick of these dudes walking around trying to accuse me and my crew of slipping in the game, and to that we seem to refuse. Don't cruise for a bruise, you will definitely lose. You don't want us to blow our fuse, cause blab you make moves, blab you make moves. Let me just state it, come to the snake pit. Now you got your chance, don't waste it, cause this game's like a chain, you got the choice. You could either make it or break it. Yeah, certain man hate it, don't ever try underrate it, cause this game's like a drug. You got the choice, you could either laugh or take it. Look, said I come with the Aggie flow. At the weekend I play ball with Mario. Everyone knows I'm the magical keeper. He plays centre back like Carvalho. Look, we got a few that hench. We hold it up so they ain't getting through the defence. Probably so shit I'd be shocked to even put you on the bench.
Shout out to everyone locked in right now. As I said, guys, I've made a decision now anyway. What I'm going to do, I'm probably going to do the support stream later on, guys, where I run Lime and Chinchilla, etc. You know, with a little bit of music thrown in there, different things thrown in there. So I'll probably do that later on at some point, guys. So if you can join me, then, you know, I'd appreciate that. And of course, I've got to be that guy from now, guys, to say, look, if you get any spare time, even if you put it on mute, just run one of the 2-3 hour videos if you can, guys, on my channel, and you know, I will appreciate that. And anybody who needs any support, just let me know. Like I say, whether you believe it or not, I have no issue. I've got 3 devices. One's not signed into anything and one is signed into one of my channels. I have got 3 devices that I can easily use one just to just stream other people's channels. Anyone who needs help, like when Chels needed help, you know, other people needed help, One Busy Mama, I have ran their channels, because if people don't believe me, then that's fair enough. And if people tell me they run my channel, I'm obliged to believe them, because I don't have any reason not to believe them. But I just hope that if any of you guys do get a chance, and I do believe that if any of you guys do get a chance, you would do that. So I got to be the guy to ask that now and say, remember, guys, if you do get a chance and you haven't got nothing going on, or even if you're sleeping or going for a nap or whatever, just put your phone on silent, and I beg you, run one of my live streams just to just give me a few extra hours watch time, because every little helps at this point now. I am trying to, you know, control the monetization, because the longer that I leave it, the more I'm losing at the same time. So it just becomes a battle to try and keep the monetization fresh. That's why I will be running more lives from now on anyway. But yeah, I'm not going to go on. I'm not going to waffle on anymore, because you guys are probably going to get to hear a lot more of my voice over the next few hours anyway. So depending on when I'm ready And depending on when it's time to do that, it could be in an hour, it could be in 3 hours' time, it could be any time between the two, but we'll see at some point later on. But until then, please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.